What is up, my fellow Token nerds and fellow Scounder nerds? That's how I feel about this episode. There's a lot to unpack from this episode. So, where to begin? I'm curious to know what the implications about the butterfly, because we don't see that in this episode of Zeztz. And we know that the nightmare is out and about and is causing mayhem, as it is. But then all of a sudden, number 3 jumps Baku with a mission. Avoid the nightmare. Oh, wait, hold on. It was avoid the nightmare scenario. What's the nightmare scenario exactly? It's implemented, but it's never clarified on what it is. Yeah, I think you would know the details on what the nightmare scenario is. My guess is that the nightmare will destroy the world. I don't know. I'm just gonna make a YouTube video, so I can't really say much. It's very interesting that we found that Fujimi and Nazuka finally get to see other agents of cult, counting Kiria, which is going by 6 now, or was. We'll get to that. I'm sorry if I'm saying a lot. Very unscripted, and there's a lot that I'm just like, my brain is melting. Speaking of melting, in Baku's subconscious, I think it was okay. Before that, we did hear that, like, when 5, 6, and Baku were talking, Kiria mentioned something interesting. He's the only one that used Zeztz. As in, like, he's the only one that, he's the one that's using Kamen Rider Zezzt's powers. What does that mean? I mean, granted, the Lord system is not Zeztz related. Neither is Nox Knight, which I got questions about that. Now, looking back into this episode and looking back on further ones, Nox Knight is its own thing. And then we got the Lord Invoker, which allows Kiria, 5, supposedly 3, to transform into lords. Lords, in a sense. And then there's only one Zeztz driver, which Baku uses. Isn't it a little weird that it was implemented like that? Like, obviously there must be something more to it, since they dropped that. Also on the fact that, apparently as a kid, he dreamed of a bad dream of the world destroyed, essentially. Also, it's interesting that Nem now knows Baku's name, because she only knows him by 7. So, there's that. And it's interesting that the melting in this dream happened again when we saw it the first time in episode 1. Yeah. What does that tell you? Because I feel like there's something to that. it's a lot to unpack on that alone. But there's more. There's more to it. So obviously, Kiryu, 5, and Baku split. Kiryu and 5 going off to take care of Nightmare and Nox, while Baku kind of is struggling to figure out what is the righteous move. Which I can understand where he's coming from. He doesn't want to kill anyone. You shouldn't kill anyone. Because that's just no. That's just a big no. And we see that whole fight sequence happen on the rooftop with the Nightmare and Nox. Really good fight sequence, by the way. This is the part where I'm going to have to address something. I'm not unscripted. I make sure my videos are kid-friendly, but also at the same time on the fact that it's on a lens of 18 and up. So, it's not blocked. It's not blocked. It's open to the public. But I make sure my best to keep things kid-friendly. How do I say this? During the fight, Kiryu got stabbed with an energy beam. And then Nox pulls out a gun and I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but we're gonna try. Cause that's fair warning. If I didn't mention that. Okay. Moving on. And same thing happened to 5. Yeah. They did. That happened. Which is why I'm gonna say this. Otaka does not deserve to be a Kamen Rider. I understand that he's supposed to be the secondary rider, but the fact that he did that, yeah, there's no saving him. That's just my thoughts on that front. On that. And after having a conversation with Fujimi, after Baku has a conversation with Fujimi and Nazuka, he understands that if he would have gone, he would have helped. So he does feel regret on that front. And yeah, it was heartbreaking to hear that. For them to hear that Kiryu died during the mission. I'm trying my best. Go with me. And the urgency that Baku has is definitely there. And he does get there to see the fallout. Well, not the fallout, but see what the aftermath of that. The Nightmare disappears, by the way. If I completely forgot that. And then after that, Baku got shot, but I assume that the Zeztz driver blocked the shot. He falls off and then goes into his subconscious again. Okay, this is the part where I'm like, something's off. Because he's falling off a building, right? He's falling off a building. How tall is the building? 2, I question about how long was he in the subconscious dealing with his own nightmare. Which, okay, really good question. Really good question. We know that the nightmares come from the lady and all that, and we're gonna figure out more in the next episode. Where does Baku's nightmare come from? That's the question. Because there wasn't really implication on where that nightmare or his nightmare came from. Just to clarify. I just don't know. And then, after he absorbed the power of that nightmare, he gains a brand new honking bang capsule. The Catastrum capsule. I think that's what it's called. Spoilers, it has 2 modes, which I don't actually know the name of the capsule. If someone can let me know what the actual name is down in the comments, that'd be very appreciated. Thank you very much. But I'm just going to go with the Catastrum capsule. And then Baku transforms into his Catastrum form, which, without saying henshin, by the way, has any other Kamen Rider done that before, where they didn't say henshin, but just transformed? I think somewhere in Super Sentai they might have did. I could be wrong. But it was like, damn. Nox, yeah. He's in trouble. Yeah. Although I will say the transformation in Nox in this episode was really cool, though. I will admit. I'll give it that. And its consistency. I'll give it that. But yeah. That is the episode. Okay, so to get out of the way, the Catastrum form. Whew, that is okay. I know there's been big forms and all that. Like, for example, Gab's candy form, the robot mega candy thing, and then there's Godshart's 2 forms, Gold Mechana and Lightning Jungle, and then there's like the Hyper Maximum Gamer X8. I think that's what it's called. I apologize to Thomas Jujubi on that one, if I got that wrong. No, Maximum Mighty X. That's what it is. There's that. But, okay, have we ever seen a Kamen Rider suit as buff as Catastrum? My god, that is a buffed up suit. Damn. And I do like the gunmetal gray and the orange accents. I love that. I also kind of like the gold crest that it has on his forehead. And I like that it kind of follows that with the neck collar and the straps of the Zeztz driver. I do like that. It does feel a little top heavy just because it's that buff. But I'm not like opposed to it. I just feel like there could have been more on the leg area. Just my opinion on that front. But dang, it is a really good suit. It's a good suit. And I don't want to be in front of that thing when it gets angry. So, yeah. There's that. So, with that being said, those were my thoughts about this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification so you don't miss an episode. And let me know what you thought about this episode. Honestly, it was gut-wrenching, to say the least. And I did my best on trying to make it kid-friendly. When you're dealing with something like this, it's kind of hard to explain what's going on. So, yeah. It is very unfiltered. Just for the record. Okay, not unfiltered, but you get the idea. You get the idea. So, until next time, where we continue on with the fight. And then, with that being said, stay tuned for my thoughts on number 1 Sentai Gozuger. I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts on that, just because it's going to be a rough one, but keep an eye out for that. And until next time, take care.